Oh, my goodness. Silence again. Thank you for making it back. We recognize that lunch was a little bit disjointed, but here we are. It's my pleasure again to introduce Henrik to you, who will facilitate this session.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. The next session is about the people we work with, our partners. We all know that scouting does not exist in isolation, in a gigantic scout camp somewhere on the clouds. Sometimes it could be a nice situation, but that's not the way it is. We work in context of our societies and including in European level with many partners. So this next session this afternoon between now and the break is all about inputs from our partners. This will happen in two times, two different moments. First, here in plenary, we are going to listen to 4 inputs, 4 presentations from 4 partner organizations of the European region. And after that, there will be working group time. So you will have to choose, and you can speak more in detail and to go more in depth with one of those 4 partners. But don't worry, you will hear from all of them briefly here now in the plenary right next. And then after that, you have the chance to go more in depth with one of them in a working group setting. The 4 partners that we're going to hear from today are the European Youth Forum, the European platform where we are members, the European Alliance for Volunteering, which is a very new platform founded just a few months ago following the European Year of Volunteering. We will also hear from the Kandersteg International Scout Center, and we will hear from WAGS, the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts European region. I'm not sure whose slides are first. Let's see. Elise, European Youth Forum. So it's my pleasure to welcome Elise Drouet, who looks like she's representing Scoutisme Français, but you are wrong. She's here in her capacity of board member of the European Youth Forum. Elise.
Okay, hi everybody. So yeah, I'm not so new elected board member of the European Youth Forum. I'm not the only one from WOSM, and actually I'm also from WAGS. There is also Marcio, who is the representative of WOSM, and also Joanna, that she is elected as a National Youth Council from Finland. So we are 3 from WOSM in the European Youth Forum board. So what is the European Youth Forum? As most of the people know, I think, it's a platform on the National Youth Council. So I know that most of your organizations are part of the National Youth Council and the non-government youth organization, as WOSM, in Europe. So it was established in 1996. Before it was like numerous platforms and we merged in one. So now it's 98 member organization. So NYC, it's National Youth Council, and INGYO, it's the international organization. The mission. So as you can see, the mission, the Youth Forum, it's look like also the mission of the WOSM. So as you can see, it's empowering young people, participation, advocacy, representation of young people. So the aims of the European Youth Forum, as I already said, is participation and recognition and promotion of young people in Europe. So board and secretariat, we are all young people and we are working for young people and by young people. So we are 11 young volunteers in the board. So as I told you, we are 3 from WOSM. And we are, thanks to the 27 young professionals working with us and for us. Okay, so we are implementing a plan, an action plan that was voting in the last GA, General Assembly. So the new strategic priorities for the YFJ, for the Youth Forum, it's the goals, as you can see: youth participation, strong youth organizations, it means founding and youth work capacity building, youth autonomy and inclusion. So it's look like also what we are doing, I mean, inside the WOSM. The method. So what the Youth Forum is an agenda setter on youth affairs. And it's also empowering all the member organizations. And we are using the right-based approach inside all our work. So now, what can the Youth Forum do for you? So we can do expertise and content on youth issue. So as you can see, non-formal education, volunteering, employment, and funding at European level. And policy and positions based on the opinion, experience, and expertise of youth organization. Also, what we can do, it's networking opportunities on national and European level. And also, the Youth Forum can provide some trainers and facilitators for a working group or for training. What can you do for the Youth Forum? Because it's not in one way in the Youth Forum. I mean, WOSM is part of the Youth Forum, and we are also like, we need the WOSM inside the Youth Forum. Why? So how you can do it, you can get involved in the working structure. So the working group was just set up. So there is 4 working group in the next 2 years. The 2 years are our mandate. So there is the working group on funding. So someone from WOSM, it's Nicolo, is inside. So it means that in the funding we will, they will try to find some new way of some new ways and tools to get some new kind of funding. Education, so someone from WAGS is there. It's non-formal education and formal education. Youth work, it's me who is leading this. So it's youth work capacity building and youth work development. And mobility. So it's on visa issue, but not just on this. And it's new. We have like task force now. So one is about volunteering, and it's me leading that. So like soon we will have a call, and it's we need some volunteers to do a toolkit on. We develop a charter on the rights and responsibility of volunteers, and we need a toolkit, an online toolkit, and so we need some volunteers to develop it. So it's this kind of task force that we are developing. Sorry. So also you can get involved in some advocacy. We have so on youth employment, as you know, some of organizations are involved in the youth guarantee, as Finland and some other promotion of youth organization project on youth employment. Also, we are like starting a new program. This is the League of Young Voters, and it's really like linked with WOSM because we are like the education movement on European citizenship. So this is really linked to WOSM. And we have another program which is Invest in Youth. So it's inside the website, say loveyouthfuture.eu. It's like a portal that you can post some stuff in it. Alors, what is coming up really next? It's the YoFest, so it's Youth Organization Festival in Brussels soon. So it's really fun event on European citizenship. It will be the launch of the League of Young Voters. And also, like, we will also celebrate the Youth in Action program, I mean the anniversary of it. So you can go to the loveyouthfuture.eu website, I mean for the young people, to win a free trip to come. And also there is a contract, I mean, with Interrail for the young people to come and to have free tickets. And you can, through your NYC or through WASM, organize a scouting workshop there. So to stay in touch, this is my email. And also the website of the Youth Forum. And after we will have a session, so if you are interested in the program and developing on also how to support your NSO inside the NYC, and if you need any support, please come.
Thank you, Elise, for the presentation of the Youth Forum structure. So in a moment there will be a discussion group to go more in depth, and one of the main topics for the discussion group later is how does the Youth Forum work or be impacting your work as national Scout organizations. Many of you have been recently involved in the creation of national youth councils in your countries. I'm thinking of Serbia, and there is some other processes ongoing, so these could be things that could be discussed in the group in a month. Unless there are some immediate questions to Elise that cannot wait until the discussion group, I see none. So therefore we go over to WAGS, the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, Europe region. Pascal van der Sissen, Vice Chair of the Europe Committee, WAGS. Please, Pascal.
I hope you're a bit awake just after lunch. Dear friends, I don't have a PowerPoint, so you have to excuse me for that. It's not a matter of money. We just didn't have time. Dear friends in Scouting and Guiding, first of all, I would like to thank the European Committee to invite us here as a WAGS committee, and specific on my birthday. It's an honor to be here. It's the first time I'm actually, after all these years, attending a symposium. So for me it's quite new, but I have heard a lot of it, and I'm really happy to be here. So I will try to give you a bit what we are doing on WAGS side at the moment, but definitely what we are doing or trying to do in partnership with WASM. So as committee, it's important that we are not only in touch via Skype, mails, or in joint committee meetings, but also to be visible in the field and understand the heartbeat of each other's organizations. One of WAG's strategy priorities is to be a growing worldwide movement and use a sustainable approach in all regions. A strategy that provides a framework for how we as a region can support our MOs in quality and quantity growth, but also to investigate new, innovative ways to support this. As a Europe Committee, we are also driven by our very ambitious plan, and we have been keeping saying this since Brussels, but we keep on believing in it. And of course we have our own vision that by 2025 we want to have a good quality guiding in all European countries. Our region that is not exactly shaped the same way as European Scout region, it's a bit more going into the east, has still a lot of potential to grow. Not only in the amount of countries, but also in quantity and how we use other ways of membership. But big efforts has been done to be more visible and to understand much better our MO strategies and build a clear picture of our membership strategy that will be key in the next triennium. In the meantime, we can proudly say that 81% of our countries have been visited or have been in touch with staff or committee contact persons. It's a huge amount, we know. And am I tired? Yes, a bit, I have to admit. That said, our future strategy is based on feedback coming from different resources, going from information gathered during events, performance assessments, visits, evaluations, and so on. We are, together with our MOs, building a strong foundation. We want to be more relevant for the MOs and become a bigger and stronger Europe, but built on their needs. Focus on outcomes rather than outputs, and you might hear more and more about this. In the big picture, it also means looking into the benefits we got out from the joint work. It will be important for our future work to outline results and how we organize ourselves in what we want to achieve in specific areas, translated in a sort of maybe specific projects. I have to say this is work in progress since only 2 weeks ago we had our committee meetings as well together with our friends of WASM. So what I'm saying here is not exactly what is already decided. Just keep that in mind when I'm going through this and through the discussions this afternoon. We are committed to our MOs to be accountable in the ways we are spending our budget and how we can ensure good and strong return on investment. And for us it was therefore also very important to look at the joint evaluation as part as our overall WACS evaluation. You may have heard that WACS also had an external organization having the same sort of evaluation but on the operational plan then. So we connected both, and it was a very good input to go more into the future work. Joint work has been discussed a lot over this triennium, and a lot of concerns were expressed by both WACS and WASM, by the committees, by MOs, but also by individuals. We have to be very open about this. But also at certain points it became emotional, personal, and very challenging to keep on focusing on what joint work really is, and how the MOs and NSOs and the region can benefit from it. As you all know, an independent and external consultant helped us to set up the process, to evaluate the work done in partnership between the two organizations, to be able to review achievements, results booked and the lessons learned. Is there something shocking, new, positive? It's up to you. And I think that's the discussions we need to go through in the next months to come. I would say yes and no. It depends how we want to use the evaluation now for the next step. But it also shows us that we are learning organizations and that we are open for dialogue with all the stakeholders. It's actually very important to define and agree what joint work exactly means for both committees before freewheeling on specific projects, events, toolkits, and whatever we could or want to do together. Now, what are the specific strengths and extra values that both WACS and WASM can benefit from? I think it's time to listen to each other and really see what you have to say about this. It's not only the committees who needs to think and see what we can do in the future. During discussions, we were actually a bit joking about the fact that we are both very good in working together when there is a common enemy. And this is reality. So I would say, hello everybody, we are 2013, and it's time to move away from being in competition. It's time to understand each other much better and work together where it makes sense. There is some food for thoughts when going more in depth in this topic when it comes to deciding about how to work together. A longer-term partnership strategy might be needed to make it more sustainable work instead of trying out every triennium again and again to find out what joint work is all about and how we're going to work together. We are two world organizations with their own values, mission and vision, and with two different plans, where common and overlapping objectives could be a good fundamental for working as partners. I would say, let's keep the good work and build on the lessons learned. In the first place, to keep in mind that the lives of 40 million, I hear this morning, girls, boys, men, and young women has changed, thanks to WACS and WASM, and this also have to be said more and more. I'm looking very much forward to the outcomes of some of our discussions. I'm more than happy and available this weekend to listen to your thoughts and comments, but also giving answers to your questions on our future joint work, partnership work, however you want to call it, and how we, as a WACS European region, are looking into that. So thank you, and I hope to see some of you in my workshop after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. So indeed, as Pascal was saying, this partnership with WACS is currently in a stage of discussion and redefinition, so I'm sure the discussions in the group will be very interesting from this point of view, and both committees very much look forward to your comments on how this partnership can be made most relevant to WASM only, SAGNOS, WAGS only, all types of organizations in Europe. So thank you, Pascal. Next one is the Kandersteg International Scout Center, and we welcome the director, General Director, Miriam Heidelberger-Kaufmann. Miriam.
Dear friends, thank you for the possibility to stand here. It is a pleasure for me to present how Kandersteg International Scout Center can support you as individuals, NSOs, and regions in the role of partner. Instead of telling you that we welcome annually 10 to 12,000 scouts and guides from more than 50 countries, I will focus on the outcome. Therefore, I ask 3 people to join me here on the stage to share with you how KISK influenced their life. It's Maura from Ireland, Johan from the Netherlands, and Dasha from Slovakia. Please come here. So, Maura, your first contact with Kandersteg International Scout Center was at a row week. Which year was that, and how old were you, and what happened then to you afterwards?
My first experience in Kandersteg was when I was at Agora last year. It was this time last year, and the thing that struck me most was the atmosphere in Kandersteg. I was there a few hours, but the Pinkies greeted me off the train, and they were instantly friendly, and I felt like I was part of the family, and I didn't know anybody. I felt the Pinkies were including me. It's such an amazing atmosphere. It's very hard to describe the magic that's in Kandersteg. I think I've been in lots of different scout centres all over the world, and it's the one central place where you can just feel like connected with everybody else, even though you don't know them. You're all there with the same purpose.
And now you're here in Dublin. What is your function here in Dublin? Are you a volunteer of Scouting Ireland, running here around for us, or what is your work here?
Last year, when I was at Agora, I was helping one of the youth working groups, one of the project groups, with a youth empowerment video. And Tom Rambots was involved in that, and he was here this week making a preparation package for the conference, and he asked me to help him, so I've been his personal assistant for the past 2 days.
Congratulations on that. Then next to Maura is Johan van Hessel. He is a member of the committee of Kandersteg International Scout Center, and I think there is an interesting story about how it came to that point.
Well, thank you, Miriam. Well, I never got the opportunity to be a participant at a World Jamboree. My scout group wasn't so involved in international things until in 2010, when some people told me about Kandersteg International Scout Center. I never heard about that. So I joined them, and I've learned and seen that the international mix that is given by the KISK feeling, the magic, that is something wonderful. It is really the permanent mini jamboree, and that is actually, now I can finally get the feeling to be part of a mini jamboree. And I would say finally that some people say it's a once in a lifetime experience. For me, it's not. It's not really a once in a lifetime experience. It will be a long time life experience. So I would lovely to join this to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johan. And then we have a third perspective. Some applause for Johan. To check if you're still awake. Dasha was a staff, so she has the staff experience from some years ago. And we met here as a Pinky and an ex-Pinky, and it was like our small staff reunion because we met here the first time and we have like a bandage between each other. So Dasha, can you please explain the plenary what it meant for you to be a staff and how your life then changed?
So as it was mentioned, being in the Kandersteg is a really nice experience, and for me, I would say it was a life-changing experience. I went first time in 2004 to be a short-termer, and then I wanted to come back in 2005, so I kind of skipped school. And since I was still at the high school and went to Kandersteg and just went back to school just to do the final exams. And went back to Kandersteg and stayed there for almost a year. And when I get home, since Kandersteg was my first international experience, I got more interested in the international scouting in Slovakia. And I was more involved in the national team, doing the international things. And later on, I became the international commissioner for Scouting Slovakia and became a member of national board where I met a lovely person who is my husband now. So, so thanks to this Kandersteg experience. And now I'm trying to manage the scouting and being the executive officer of Scouting Slovakia and promoting Kandersteg. So if you have some dedicated volunteers, I'm just saying it's a great way to empower young people.
Thank you very much, Dasha. Thank you very much, Dasha, Mora and Johan. Dear audience, this is exactly how KISK can add spices to your organization by the empowerment of young people to become your future leaders, by development of new scouting, peace or environmental program, and to try your ideas out at a bigger group. By offering support in managing a scout center, a national local scout center, and by offering the facilities for memorizable moments, meetings, conferences, and all kinds of gatherings. As well, KISK is applying the WUSM membership category system for discounting the overnight fees, and furthermore have a system in place offering 100 free overnights a year for people from Eastern and Central European countries. At this very special moment, we are developing together with the European Scout region how KISK can even more support the national scout organizations and the region. These discussions are held in a very friendly manner, respecting each of the partners' history and focusing on our strengths and on their strengths. We hope we will be able to tell you more in years future. And I hope to see most of you, or several of you at least, in the working group later on. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Miriam. We, of course, in Europe are very fortunate that an international scout center is located here in our region. So it's great that we can work in partnership with Kandersteg. But Miriam, could you please come back, because there's a little ceremony. Miriam, you have decided to be a friend of Scouting in Europe, so please come to the front to receive your recognition from the chairman of the European Scout Foundation and the chairman of the European Scout Committee. This is an example to everybody in the room who's not yet a friend of Scouting in Europe. You can join at any moment. Jorgen is telling me that he still has more pins in case there is somebody in the room who would like to.
Three slides that I find particularly interesting. One of them shows how the barriers for volunteering. You can see that the main barrier is the lack of time, but it's not the only one, of course. The second slide shows the low perception of recognition of skills acquired through scouting by our membership. You can see that actually mostly they are appreciated by their peers, by young people, by parents, but for instance by employers and public entities this ratio is very low. And the third slide shows that actually we don't only volunteer inside scouting, but usually scout volunteers are much more involved in other organizations as well. Maybe they are, and you are, maybe involved in these organizations, which formed the so-called EYV 2011 Alliance, which was driving force for the European Year of Volunteering. You can see that scouts were there, guides were there, the European Youth Forum, but many others. Altogether, there were almost 40 pan-European networks dealing with volunteering, and they made the European Year of Volunteering a reality. So, just a bit of history. You might remember that in 2008, at the conference in Korea, we were speaking about a recent initiative in the European Parliament that we were supporting to get the European Year of Volunteering, and it became the reality later on in the year 2011. I'm sure that your associations were involved, and in the end. So we formed an unofficial alliance of these organizations, and 39 European networks. We're representing around 2,000 organizations and millions of volunteers. But after the year, the alliance has ended. But there were some good achievements. We became a voice of volunteering organizations during the year. We were actually coordinating all the NGOs' input. We were the reliable partner of the European Commission and other EU bodies and stakeholders, and we produce so-called PAVE, or PAVE, Policy Agenda for Volunteering in Europe. All the results are available on the website, which is at the bottom of the slide, and I have some spare copies of PAVE and some USB sticks with me, so you can learn more about that. We were very much involved as WASM in the development of this document, which is, in fact, a lasting legacy of the year. It is a program, real program that you can use even at the national level, because it brings recommendations also for the national level. PAVE objectives, there are a number of them, but the main, I would say, was to prepare a policy framework and to suggest it to the EU bodies and other stakeholders at national and local level, and ensure a lasting legacy. And you can download it at on the website here. I always say that actually this document has only one little, I wouldn't call it mistake, but actually there is something very little missing for my full satisfaction, and that's a letter L at the end of the abbreviation. And you will shortly receive a new Euroscout document on scouting and volunteering, which summarizes our involvement in the year and some best practices from the national level. And you will be surprised maybe how much scouts were involved in that year. But, of course, we wanted to continue beyond the year 2011. And so we started talks among the former EYV 2011 Alliance member organizations. We started talks about establishment of a permanent structure, something that would be a real organization and would be strong enough to push forward PAVE. And therefore, on the 8th of February this year, we established the European Alliance for Volunteering. There were 6 founding members, amongst others Scouts, Guides, the Youth Forum, European Volunteer Center, Volunteer Europe and Eurodiaconia, and there are a number of other organizations ready to join in autumn this year at the 2nd General Assembly. Our vision, and you can see that we are still searching for a logo. So this is a kind of suggestion for yourself as well to get involved in a competition. We are going to come up with very quickly. So our vision is to have an independent alliance which would coordinate the interests of European, but also national and regional organizations that are active in volunteering. And we want to be an inclusive platform which would bring together all the diverse forms of volunteering, but work for the common goal. The added value, as we see it, is that we'll simply push forward PAVE, because this is our main program, and we'll be stronger in lobbying if we join the forces. The only subject of our alliance is volunteering, so we are not pushing forward any particular form of volunteering or anything that is connected with that, but strictly volunteering. We'll be an independent, or we are an independent platform, and we want to become a collaborative and supportive hub on volunteering. And our mission, and I'll read it out, we want to act as collaborative and supportive hub for European, national and regional organizations involving volunteers or who support or promote volunteering to advocate for positive change in the volunteering sector. Mainly, I would say, at the European level. Our objectives, you can see them here. We want to actively coordinate and develop efforts aimed at appropriate follow-up of PAVE, monitor and communicate developments, and coordinate and develop initiatives. We have a number of areas of action, of course, starting with representation and participation, setting up and influencing the agenda in this policy field to become a community of good practice. Of course, we need to secure funding, and membership relations and support are equally important in the alliance as in any other organization. How are we involved? We were members of the so-called preparatory working group, which prepared the whole project. It lasted almost 1 year, and we are one of the 6 founding members. We hold the presidency for the first 2 years. And our initial priorities, as we were discussing them, were recognition, of course, ensuring legal and financial conditions, and liaising with other stakeholders. And you might ask, what is it there for us, Europe and NSOs? I would say that there are 3 main things. First, we are joining forces towards institutions, and we avoid duplications, and therefore we are strengthening the impact. Just to be in this club means that we are answering to one threat that goes around Brussels. Because it's usually said that if you are not Brussels, if you are not by the table, you are on the menu. So it's really better to be by the table and not to get eaten. Of course, we would like to outsource some of our issues or concerns. There were a number of legal issues regarding volunteering, prevention of our activities, etc., and we might bring them forward in a wider group and thus have a stronger impact. And this alliance might be also a good example for cooperation at national level, because similar initiatives are happening in the member states. You might have experience with that. I know that, for instance, Portuguese and Dutch Scouts are members of such a network in their countries, and I know that there are many other countries where there are some organizations claiming that they are the only voice of volunteering in that particular country. I think that we have to be very careful and follow the development. And of course, it requires quite a lot of volunteer work from us. So I'll be glad to hear if anyone is interested to help us with this, because it's a bit time consuming. On the other hand, it's quite rewarding. It gives us a lot of information. It gives us a lot of best practices also from other organizations. We can learn from them. And this is enriching for us. Well, for the moment, you can follow development in the Alliance through Facebook. And I've set up a personal key performance indicator success of this intervention for myself. You see now there are 193 likes, so if we have 220 by the end of this session, I would be extremely happy and grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I'm sure you can reach at least the 200 likes at the end of the session. We know that volunteering issues are very relevant to many of the NSOs around Europe, so I'm sure the discussions in the group in a moment will be very fruitful this afternoon. We have now the time to split to the 4 discussion groups. We have 4 rooms at our disposal, 1 big one here and 3 upstairs. We need to decide who stays here, and also in general it would be good if all the groups would have nice participation. So we'll take a vote with show of hands to determine how we split. So this vote serves 2 purposes. One is to see which group is the biggest one and has to stay here. And secondly, if you see that everybody wants to go to one group, then maybe you can think about switching to the neighboring one if it looks that the groups are really unbalanced, on a voluntary basis, of course, as always. So, all of those who are intending to join Elise in the discussion group about the European Youth Forum, please show your hands. Around 10, less than 10. All those who are intending to join Pascal in the working group regarding WAGs. 20 maybe, thank you. All those who are intending to join Miriam in the discussion group concerning Kandersteg. Also around 10. And all those who are intending to join Pavel regarding the Volunteering Alliance. 15, okay, 10. I'm afraid that we have a number of people who are not planning to join any group. Okay, so the votes were clear. The group with WAGs will stay here, and the 3 others, David, what are the names of the rooms?
Okay, the other rooms are Concord, that's for the Youth Forum. Lear, that's Kandersteg, and Canary is the Volunteering Alliance. And just before you disperse, it's important that we will go immediately into the coffee break, which means you come back down here. Then, for the next session,